Hi, I'm Mary Beth Quinn, a mixed media artist, and in my most recent work, I have really expanded my use of transparency in my landscapes. I've always used a lot of glazing, but I really kicked it up a notch and have been having so much fun just exploring different glazes and different ways to use the paint. And so today, I thought that I would compare the different mediums that I just had on hand to see how they compared to the one that I always use for glazing, Golden's Satin Glazing Liquid. But I wanted to see if I only had some matte medium, or if I had paint extender or gel medium, how do those work as far as creating transparencies for my work? So I did a little comparison for you today, and I hope that you find it helpful. Golden Satin Glazing Liquid. This is what I used to attach my collage. And I started doing that because I already used this to make my paints more translucent. So I thought I would do a little test to see what is the difference between using this or maybe something like this, which is Golden's Open, which is just, it's a gloss, but it's slow drying and it seems to have a lot of the same qualities as this. I also wanted to compare it to the matte medium, as well as I have some of this gel. And so I was just going to see what is the difference in the translucency with these products and how does that come across in your painting over darker areas like this. So I have put in some darker areas so I can use that to gauge the translucency of these things and how they mix. So for this, I'm going to use the same color across the board so we can really compare. So I'm just going to use this cerulean blue acrylic ink, and we'll be adding our mediums to that. This is what I put my golden glazing medium in, so we'll start with that. This is the golden glazing medium. Let's try the Open, the Golden Open, and see what that is like. Looks pretty similar. Next, I want to try the matte medium. And now let's also try just a little bit of this gel. It's just not as convenient to use. I am curious to see how it works differently on the page and translucency. So of course this has more body to it because it's that gel, but there you go. They're still in the midst of drying, but I did cut into them with a colored pencil and really got different results just because these are both slow drying extenders, the glazing medium and the open. So a pencil mark went through it really easily. This matte is drying more quickly. And so you still get some beautiful marks through it, but they're not as fluid as these. And this one, the gel medium, didn't do well at all with the marking into it. If I had done it a little bit earlier, it might have been different. So now I've given this at least 15 minutes. The gel is dry. It's a little tacky up here, but just barely. It did have some nice effects, and it was quite translucent, actually. The matte is also dry. It worked well with the scratching through and quite translucent as well. Don't particularly like that matte, flat finish. It tends to dull the color, which is really what I want to be coming through this translucency. So for that reason, I probably would not use matte as something to make a glaze, but it would work. And if you like that matte finish, then it would really work. Both of these are still wet. Now the Open, I imagine, will stay wet for a long time because that's its whole purpose. It increases transparency and it maintains a long working time. So that's what it's made to do. It will stay wet. So for that reason, it would work in a pinch, but I probably wouldn't use it for that reason. This glazing liquid also takes a little while to dry, and it says on here that it's a slow drying extender. It is my favorite for glazing, but any of these would work. As far as translucency, you're going to get different drying times and you're going to get a different finish. Of the two that I would possibly use, what I use all the time, and then this gel. If you don't have straight up glazing liquid, you can use other acrylic mediums and obviously get many of the same effects. So let's try it with a darker color. We'll use this dark orange. How about that? It's not super dark, but it's darker than blue. And I'm going to add that to the mix. So we have the combination of elements happening there. So now I will use a little bit more of that ink and I will try the open. We're going to use the matte medium. And last is the gel. And we will add that and see how the two play together. All right, I'll wait for those to dry. It has been a couple of hours now, and we can take a look at how these compare. As far as drying time, as you can see, I think by the sheen, see how both of these are not close to dry at all, which makes sense because they're extenders. The matte is completely dry, and the gel is a little bit tacky, but it's pretty much dry, pretty much. But I thought it would be interesting to just look at the effects that the gel got. It was really pretty, especially with the blended dark orange gel mixture with the cerulean over that dark burnt umber and black mixture that I use. And then this one is just matte. And once again, I don't like that at all because it doesn't let any of the colors shine through. It doesn't allow anything to come to the fore or grab your attention. It just sort of dulls the whole surface. I have let these dry overnight, and I thought we could just look really quickly at the effects that they're having. Now, as you can see, this, the open, I don't use this ever, but it apparently really works because this is still really wet and tacky. So it's hard to see exactly what the finished result will be, but here is, this is tacky in just that little place where it's thick. This is the glazing liquid, and so that's what I use all the time. So I'm really familiar with these effects. They just make beautiful washes of color, can layer together really nicely, and you get things poking through. So I really like the glazing liquid. Now the open, I don't think, it would absolutely work if that's what you have, but it's going to keep you from coming back to the work really quickly, for sure. Next is this, the Liquitex Basics, the matte fluid medium, and it does make it transparent or translucent, but that matte sheen does not bring the colors to the fore the way that I like. So that is not a choice for me as far as using glazing on my paintings to make sort of luminous layers. Now the gel is really interesting to me because obviously it's the gel, so it gives it more body. It's dry. It looked, I was touching it hesitantly because it has that shine to it, but it is dry. And I actually really like how the layers worked together. It didn't scrape through so easily, but maybe I did it too late, who knows. I think for me, the only real options that I would that I would use regularly are the gel and the glazing medium. But if you have other mediums, you don't have to get something that's specifically labeled glazing. Your mediums will add that transparency, but you just have to find the one that has the qualities that work for you. I'm going to do more of this, I think, with different products or to get different effects. So then I can make notes. As you see, I've already started like really just giving the qualities to this. A gel, it makes it thicker and it's quick drying, and it is also less convenient to mix up than the glazing medium. Now I will go through and I will use this sketchbook to just make notes to myself and get more familiar with the products, which that's just not only fun, but it is really just part of the work. The same products are not going to work the same in every artist's process. So you really do have to get to know them, experiment with them, see what they do, and then take it from there, or take it into your process, whichever ones have the qualities that you're really looking for. I hope that you found this to be really helpful to you about the subject of glazing. And if you're really curious about exploring this further, I'm presently working on a class about abstract landscapes and the use of collage and transparencies in the work. If you are interested in that, I will have a link in the description where you can sign up for the wait list and get some information about it as it comes out this summer. If you would like to see my present work, The Enchanting Wilds, and look at how I use transparency in the landscape, you can find that in the description below, as well as all of the other things that I talked about in this video. And as always, thank you so much for spending your precious time with me.